Hello, today I'm going to talk about the North Node in Aquarius in Western astrology and the South Node in Leo. And if you have that until 23 degrees, you would also have Rahu in Vedic astrology in Capricorn and Ketu in Cancer. So let's talk about this North Node in Aquarius. You have the South Node in Leo, and that's very important here because Leo is a very strong sign. Leo is royalty. So most likely with this combination, you come into this life as, if you believe in past incarnation with this, you were some sort of royalty. You were somebody very prominent in your past incarnations, and in your younger years, you come in with this Leo confidence into this world, and most likely you're a very creative person. You're a very warm personality. You can draw people to you. You realize that you draw people to you. And I know some people, I've talked to some people and they're like, oh, I'm not really that confident, and yes, sure, but in comparison, once you get older, in comparison to lots of other people, your heart chakra is very strong. So, so of course the Leo can also be sensitive. The Leo is very proud. Leo South Node has a lot of pride, which will be challenged over the course of your life. And with this, here's very, very important to look at the house position where this one falls into, and of course at other parts of the chart. We have to look at how much aware can the person be, because Leo here on the South Node, it's a very self-centered position. It is a bit of a narcissistic position, but depending on other factors, Leo is also very generous. So it's not necessarily narcissistic, but the person has a strong ego. They have to admit they do have a strong ego in this lifetime, and the feeling of there's a bit of a sense of privilege. They're very lucky, and in some area of life early on they might be very lucky. They might grow up in a very good family. They might have good family relations with this, or a strong father figure or whatever. Lots of people with Leo on the South Node become artists early in life. Some are even like child stars or whatever, children actors, because they have this strong sense of self and the need to express themselves. It's also very playful. Leo is very playful energy. They can be very charming. They might have children. With this, they might have kids very early in life, meaning under the age of 25, maybe at age 20, 16, 17, 18, 20, whatever. So that would be a Leo South Node. The people I've met who had this, or the South Node in the 5th house, they usually have their first child around 20, 21. That would be typical. That's a typical implication that I've seen, at least. And the thing about children, this is very important if you do have children. Not everybody does. But one important thing to say here about parents with this combination is you'll be very protective of your kids. You'll be a typical lion mother with your children, and you really have to be careful not to overdo it. At some point, as the kids grow up, you have to learn to create a friendship. You will be forced to view your own children more on the same level. Here you will be pulled into this Aquarian energy one of many, very egalitarian, brotherly energy. And if you have children with this in your life, as you get older, the kids will not spend so much time with you. They will go their own way. They might move away from your town. Actually, if you look at the children's charts, you can already tell. You can already see who's going to move away, or which child will distance themselves. So you can see that already with a South Node Leo. If they have children early in life, something will happen in the course of their life that the kids eventually will either move away or distance themselves, or at the very least, the parent does not really, they do not really see themselves they don't see themselves reflected in their child or children as much as they hope for, as much as the South Node is very familiar. And the Leo here, Leo is creative self-expression. Actually, that's the concept of Leo, and having children, it means having children as this kind of aspect. So you actually view your kids as your creative self-expression. That's the Leo concept here. And you will not be able to identify with your children very much. At least one of your kids will be completely different than you expected, There will not be this, the universe will not allow you to over-identify with your kid. And they might be removed from your proximity. They might be not close to you, I'm not saying they're going to die or anything, but the children, there will be difficulties. There can be a lot of difficulties if the parent does not let go of this Leo mode, of this Leo expectation. The Leo would have high expectations towards their children because they invest a lot in their children. 1 second. So with the Aquarius North Node, once you get a bit older, once you're over the age of 35, that's when the North Node hits full blown. Usually it will start earlier. This starts earlier in life. It comes in spurts, so to speak. You'll be pulled out of this. The Leo energy is very personal. It's more subjective. Although early in life, if you have this North Node, there is already an interest, There is an interest in this Aquarian archetype. Early in life, you already have lots of friends. With this, you attract people to you. You can also be very clever. This can make a person, if other factors comply, this can be very clever, intelligent or clever, whatever you want to call it. Because Aquarius, with the Uranus energy, it can give you really great insights. You can have sudden flashes of insight. The Leo being in the heart chakra, and you also have the Ketu in Cancer, right? So you have Leo and Ketu in Cancer. You have the South Node in Leo and Ketu in Cancer in the Vedic chart. So that's a very personal combination here. These people can be very confident in the truest sense, actually. It's also very authentic. It's not fake. Cancer with their it's ruled by the moon, by the emotions. So there's authentic self-expression. Like I say, this can be very good for artists, and if your South Node foundation is solid, if you are a creative performer type of person, and you do have a career in that, you went to school and all that, blah blah blah. You have a solid foundation, so this could be very successful. But nevertheless, whatever you do, if you're just a regular person, a family person. You'll be the star. At first, you'll be the star in your family, so to speak. You'll be the star around your children. You know, if you're a creative person, if you're also entrepreneur with a Leo South Node, you know, at first you'll be the star in life, so to speak. But you already realize you will have to move out of that. You will have to move out into the Aquarian energy that rules society at large, and in a concrete manner it means you will become one of many. You have to, in a way, this is an axis of socialization. The individual has to become more socialized, and depending on other factors, that can start early in life, where they do feel drawn to groups. You know, this is about immersing in a group, realizing that you're one of many, that you cannot, the conversations are not going to be about you if you're in a group with many people. You know, if there's 2, 3, 4, or 5 people around, you don't have these personal conversations anymore, right? And the Leo, although this is not, we don't have Gemini here, we have Leo and Cancer, but nevertheless, it's not just conversation. You can see it play out in you know, with group activities. The person will be invited to some kind of group activity or meeting or whatever, and something will bug them. You know, maybe they meet at a restaurant, and something about it will just bug them. They would have not chosen this place themselves, you know, and maybe they will complain. They have to learn to let go of that. They have to actually learn to let go of a piece of their individuality here. And the more the person refuses to socialize themselves and you know, become an ordinary person, the more the higher the chances they will be toppled from their throne. And this will happen in the form of an event, any kind of event where you really lose your face, but the loss of face happens in a way that they become more human, they become more humane through that. So the person might lose their face through something, but it's actually not so bad, because they are supposed to go into the Aquarian North Node, and it's not even detrimental. You know, they're fulfilling their destiny. They have to be brought down, so to speak, to the level of all of us. You know, so there can be, if the person holds on to pride, they will lose their face. You know, they might become theatrical if they hold on to this Leo North Node, and the Cancer, also the Cancer South Node in the Vedic chart here is very emotional, it can be very self-centered. If you don't let go of that, you'll become very selfish and a self-centered, whiny kind of person. You know, dramatic, and be very dramatic. You need to let go of any drama here, being a drama queen. So there's a strong propensity here, but it really depends on the houses. The houses will tell you where this plays out. You know, where is this Leo South Node? Is it in your first house? So here it's about, so that would be very strong. You know, you really have to let go of some ego issues here, and realize, basically realize the world doesn't evolve around you alone. With this, you'll be forced to, whether you like it or not, you'll be forced to become one of many, and to be reminded that you're part of society, you know, and you're not a royalty anymore. Maybe you were, maybe it started out early in life. Maybe you're born into a very rich family, you know, and your friends were different, like you were special or whatever. But as you get older with this Aquarius, you could still have, of course you will be successful, you can be very successful regardless, but you will have to let go of this very subjective, special Leo attitude. And you really have, it's really about socialization into society. And one implication that you see with the North Node in Aquarius is when the person gets older, they might live in a rental. They might not even own their own house. They might want to live in a town, in an apartment building with neighbors and stuff. Being one of many, they might take more public transit. They might love taking the train, and not their own car, for example. They might have lived rather lavishly, maybe. And maybe you still see that part. You will still see the Leo somewhere in this person's life, maybe in their home. But with the North Node in Aquarius, it's also a bit eccentric here. The Aquarius with Uranus, that can be a bit of sci-fi. That can have a bit of a sci-fi feel to it. The person becomes more and more. Well, they also have a problem with being nervous. They'll become. They should be very lively. They should be the person who is out and about. With Aquarius, you have to be out and about, and you should not retreat too much into your own self or into your own home, unless you have this combination in the 4th house. But then there will be a lot happening in your home, If you have Aquarius in the 4th house, there's going to be a lot of people in your home. So the Aquarius really brings you into society as a member of society, talking to all sorts of people, and you're supposed to let go of hierarchy, of hierarchical thinking here as well. And you have to learn being part of a group, basically. And sometimes it can make a person a bit eccentric. It can be a very high-strung. This can be a very high-energy combination because of the electrifying energy of Uranus, of the Aquarian Uranus. And there's one generation, there's in a couple months, there's like a certain time frame of several months where people have Mars on the North Node in Aquarius. One example would be Elon Musk has that. I also know another person who has that, and they will take on some leadership role. But it's always something humanitarian. That you can see that, like some people might work in the social sector with this. So of course, if you have Mars or the Sun on this, here you will definitely take on the leadership role also later in life. With Leo, you might have you have some sort of leadership role. You're the star in some area early in life, but later on, you have to let go of that. And like I say, this is particularly difficult for parents who you have to learn as a parent. You really have to learn to become when your child grows up. You have to learn friendship. You have to learn to treat them like a friend more. Your child will force you to do that, And it's something you cannot generalize, like it's not all parents need to be friends with your kids, it's you only have one mother and one father, so you can argue about that, but with this combination, specifically with the North Node in Aquarius and South Node in Leo, it will be different. The relationship to your children will not be conventional, and you will not spend as much time with them as you get older. And they might not follow your footsteps. They will not follow your footsteps. They will not follow your footsteps in the way you expect. You know, there will be, this is the area of sacrifice on your part, your expectations. You really have to hold back with your expectations, and especially, well, also Leo on the South Node, especially, you definitely have to let go of, when you have children, you know, you want to be generous with money and stuff, but with this you have to let go of anything manipulative around money, because the Leo is very generous. Leo wants to be generous, but the South Node, it dilutes. It will eventually dilute everything, and Leo can also be a tyrant, a very dominant person. So it's very important not to use money here to, in any ways, to dominate your kids, you know, and to kind of pervert the generosity of Leo, which in the beginning will be very genuine, but you have to let go of that. You will realize over time, you will realize, hopefully, you know, no power struggle. You have to let go of power struggles with your kids. You cannot win. With this combination, you will not win. It's not possible. You're not here. You know, you're here to learn friendship. You're here to learn group behavior, and learning that the universe does not evolve just around you. Leo and Cancer are very personal energies. This is about personal life. It's about the personal family, the home. Aquarius and also Capricorn, right? We also have Rahu in Capricorn, are impersonal planets. It's about a higher cause. So with the Capricorn, if you have it until 23 degree in Aquarius, you also have Rahu in Capricorn with this. So also here, later in life, you know, you will not be at home so much anymore. You're called to be out there and fulfill some sort of duty. This is a very dutiful, karmic. It can be very karmic, because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in the Vedic astrology, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn in both, right? So this is a very Saturnine combination. You have the Aquarius where Saturn and Uranus rule Aquarius, and then you have Capricorn only with Saturn. So that's very karmic. That can be very karmic, this combination. And it can make a person very independent. This, with this Aquarius North Node, that will already show early in life. You know, and it's usually a combination with the people that I've met or seen. There's a very strong, with this Cancer South Node, they are very rooted in their home country or hometown, the place of origin. They're very much rooted in that, but at the same time they're also very independent characters. You know, they're people who can live alone, who can make their own money. They probably, most likely, they will have a good career with this Saturn, with this very Saturnine North Node, unless the person is too fearful, unless the person retreats back into being overly emotional, being too proud. You know, you could not be too proud, especially in the work area, also with relationships. Leo, like I say, the Leo South Node and also the electrifying Aquarian North Node can be very attractive. You can at least draw people. You can draw people to them. It's not particularly a romantic relationship axis. All the Leo rules also love affairs, you know. But I would say it's not particularly with the North Node, South Node. This is not specifically about romantic relationships, yeah, unless it is in the 7th house. But you will attract people to you. You will attract people to you, and whether you are married or not, you're supposed to be you're still supposed to do some group activity, you know. If you have a spouse, they can participate. It doesn't mean that your spouse has to stay at home or whatever. Maybe, and with this you actually might attract, you will very much attract a spouse who is a bit eccentric themselves with Aquarius, or a person who's also very sociable, you know, who's also out there. And then you have this Capricorn, which also calls you, in addition to letting go of this Leo energy, the Capricorn, you want to become mature. You have a strong, there's a strong, you can be very ambitious. This combination can make a person actually very ambitious, because they have a lot. They tend to have a lot of energy with the Leo Aquarius. There's a lot of physical energy in them, and then you have this Capricorn, which on the North Node, which can make a person very ambitious. And the reason they're very ambitious is because they feel it's never enough. There's this feeling of never being mature enough, of never being good enough. There's always a feeling of having to be better and better. It's a perfectionist. These people can be very much perfectionists, you know, especially if the person has a strong Virgo. That would be very ambitious and perfectionist here. So one thing to watch out for is nervous tension. You know, don't get neurotic. Don't get too nervous with this. The Aquarius can be, and this North Node, the North Node energy comes in spurts. You know, it will come and go, and it can come very strongly. Although with the North Node, anything that happens in the North Node, you tend to get away with it. You tend to get away. It's all when you don't get away with something, you're stuck in the South Node. You know. So with this, you might be very nervous at times, but that's not what turns people off. It's when you're too much about yourself with this. You know, it's not your eccentricity. It's not your whatever weird lifestyle you have, you know. If it's Aquarian, you can get away with that. But not with being stuck. You cannot be stuck in the South Node. That's it's a very personal, emotional, selfish energy here with Leo and Cancer. Most likely, depending on other factors in the chart, you know, especially if you have planets on this North Node, you are called to take on some responsibility towards society at large, or well, society, whatever, maybe whatever social organization you work for, basically, you know. This could also be very scientific, science-oriented, you know, some cancer research or whatever, some kind of science that benefits humanity at large. You know, renewable energies, stuff like that. That's all very Aquarian. And like I say, the Capricorn here, also, it's very important for these people how they appear to the outside. They tend to be very well dressed. Capricorn can be very very much. They have an impeccable appearance. You know, it's important for Capricorn how the status, it is about status and the face towards society. And there can be a karmic with this Capricorn on the North Node. There can be lots of karmic relationships, you know, but it's usually about duty. There's some kind of heart, like sacrifices, heart lessons, sacrifices with this. But it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It's your dharma, you know. By fulfilling our dharma, at first it might even be difficult. It is difficult, but once you have integrated these things, everything becomes more easy. Everything will be easier. and many problems will dissolve. Certain problems that you thought you had several years ago, you're in a completely different mindset. So that's all what it's about, fulfilling your dharma. You don't want to repeat. You don't want to repeat some negative experience, just to make the same mistakes over and over again. So I hope this helped. Please let me know in the comment section how this affects you, with your Leo and Cancer. Let me know. Take care.